Well, ladies and gentlemen, the train wreck that is Captain Marvel has left us a bunch of new pieces of debris to pick up and talk about. First of all, thank you to everyone who supported the previous video so far. I do appreciate it. Links are in the description down below if you happen to miss them. And if you do end up enjoying this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. So we're gonna start this video off talking about the most recent thing that everybody's talking about as of the time of this recording at least, and that is the narrative that anti-SJWs are review bombing Captain Marvel at Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, just look at these headlines. Captain Marvel is already being review bombed on Rotten Tomatoes. Trolls gonna troll, Captain Marvel already getting review bombed. Captain Marvel review bombed as trolls target film on Rotten Tomatoes. Captain Marvel review bombed as trolls misinterpret Brie Larson's men comments. I think I interpreted them pretty goddamn well actually, Express UK. Trolls are already review bombing Captain Marvel on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like all these publications got on a goddamn conference call and it's like, what are we gonna call these people? Trolls sounds pretty good. That's brilliant, let's run with that. Everybody put trolls in your headlines. What did these little bastards do to any of you guys, huh? For you to use them as derogatory terms? How dare you?
Unbelievable, guys, really.
So as we all know, the movie isn't out yet, so how could people possibly be review bombing something that they haven't seen? Well, on Rotten Tomatoes, when you go look up a movie that isn't out yet, it will bring you to the page for that movie, and it will give you these options: not interested or want to see. It's just basically, are you interested in seeing this movie? And a space for a comment as to why or why not. So knowing this and then reading those kind of headlines, you can just tell without even reading the articles that they are the embodiment of idiocy. But my friends, you know as well as I do that nothing embodies idiocy like the Mary Sue, the undisputed worst publication of all time. And naturally, they chimed in on this subject as well, saying, "Angry men flood Rotten Tomatoes to bash Captain Marvel ahead of release. The upcoming film is getting review bombed by men who can't handle a female superhero." Well, it looks like somebody missed the conference call because you guys were supposed to use trolls in the headline, not angry men, so joke's on you, dumbass, haha. Though it won't hit theaters for another 3 weeks, Captain Marvel is already being review bombed on Rotten Tomatoes. These reviews aren't from critics or journalists, but from angry, impotent men flooding the audience reviews with their anger. What are they angry about? So many things. I love that line that it's not from critics or journalists, as if that's some kind of beacon of integrity or some shit. I mean, don't you guys claim to be journalists? Look at the level of reporting you're doing on this, for instance. I mean, you're calling people's reasons for why or why they do not want to go see this movie reviews. And if they don't want to go see the movie, they're trolling.
How stupid are you?
Men are shouting from basements all across the land about Brie Larson, her feminism, and liberal politics, how Captain Marvel is an SJW film, and arg, women, I hate them, why won't they love me? Sidebar, I still don't get how social justice warrior is an insult. Like, those are all good qualities and it's basically a superhero name. If anyone needs someone to write a social justice warrior origin story, call me. Jesus Christ. First of all, the basement thing is played the fuck out already. It's like you're stuck in 20 years ago or some shit. Second of all, where do you get the argument that people who don't want to go see Captain Marvel hate women? A lot of people that don't want to go see Captain Marvel are women. In fact, in these videos alone, I've already named a handful of female characters I admire in movies. And I, along with my contemporaries here on YouTube, have pretty much for the most part praised Wonder Woman, so it's not just a superhero thing. Just a terrible argument. Terrible goddamn argument from the worst publication of all time. Moving on. And social justice warrior was not a bad thing inherently. It's the behavior of people like you at the Mary Sue that caused it to become a meme and something that is terrible. Because for the longest time, people were fighting for a world where we no longer cared what gender or sexuality or whatever the hell race other people are. We just look at each other as people. You morons are working towards a world where we're constantly caring about what other people's gender and race and all these things are. You morons are what caused outrage culture. You're the morons that, like for instance, have complained that James Bond needs to have a black lead. So sure, why not? Make Idris Elba the lead. But then if you cave, right, they're gonna be like, oh, well, yeah, he's black, but he's not a woman. Change it to a woman. Yeah, well, she's a woman, but she's not LGBTQ. And if it's one kind of LGBTQ over the other, then they'll just be like, oh, well, they're not disabled. That's why. That's why you guys are a goddamn joke. Social justice warriors like you at the Mary Sue are the ones who came up with things like cultural appropriation. The dumbest goddamn thing on the planet. You get mad at Bruno Mars for singing like he's black when he's not black. You get mad at Eminem for rapping when he's not black. You attack J-Lo for doing a Motown tribute at the Grammys because she's not black. And these are people who appreciate those cultures so much that they want to celebrate it through their own music, and they get attacked because of SJW ideologies. And the funniest thing about that is that you guys don't even know how to uphold your own creations. You guys get mad at white people for wearing dreadlocks because saying it's supposed to be for black people, but the goddess Shiva in India wore dreadlocks, the ancient Greeks wore dreadlocks, the Vikings wore dreadlocks, so what kind of shit is that? And then what do we do about all these fusion restaurants? Do we shut them all down? So there you have it, Chelsea, a very small sample size as to why SJW is an insult. Again, that whole journalism thing, you should probably look things up next time, because I can go on for days on this thing and I didn't even look anything up. The point of this kind of review bombing campaign is to drag down the average audience rating to discourage folks from seeing the film. In some instances it works, like with 2016's Ghostbusters, which suffered from massive downvoting of the trailer on YouTube as well as a rush of 1-star IMDb reviews. The film even added a scene featuring the Ghostbusters reading nasty internet comments about themselves in a moment of meta-awareness. Nah, Ghostbusters suffered because it was an unnecessary gender swap, it wasn't funny, and it sucked. Moving on. Other films subjected to angry review bombing and toxic fandom are Star Wars The Last Jedi and Black Panther, both of which were targeted by racist trolls. There's the troll line. Facebook even had to shut down a group recruiting people to write bad reviews about Black Panther on Rotten Tomatoes. Before being shut down, the group had already garnered 4,000 followers. Alright, that last part's kinda sad and I'm not gonna defend it. I mean, that's just way too much effort. I just didn't go see the goddamn thing. I mean, to go out of your way to make a group and that's way too much effort, y'all. While neither film suffered at the box office, both films grossed over $1 billion worldwide, or at the hands of critics, both scored over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. The virulent anger and unabashed racism resulted in Kelly Marie Tran and Daisy Ridley taking hiatuses from social media. It's frustrating and demoralizing that a small but vocal group of trolls can make someone's life on social media miserable. Yeah, but a film can make money, a lot of money, and still cause a negative impact on the fan base. And I'm referring to mainly The Last Jedi. Black Panther did fine. But the distrust created by The Force Awakens definitely had an impact on The Last Jedi, which subsequently had an impact on spin-offs such as Solo. So while the revenue of the problem-causing movie may not have been affected, it does affect the franchise overall. Now that doesn't answer the review bombing portion of it, but I'm just addressing the whole what effects are caused by creating a movie that pisses the fan base off. Anyway, let's end this thing off. And while the trolls are currently setting their sights on Carol Danvers, it's unlikely that they will sway the film's box office or critical reception. The film is now tracking at an expected opening weekend of 120 million and rising. Now that's pretty marvelous. I already talked about projections in the last video, check that out if you're interested. The only thing I'll say about that is that I think they're just using the high end of that 80 to 120 million projection as their baseline now, so they're saying 120 million. And the only reason I say this is because this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter, where earlier projections at 80 to 120 was from Deadline, and we all know the Hollywood Reporter is shill as fuck, so that's why. That's still a pretty marvelous drop from 180 or 140 to 180. Chelsea. That's the only thing that's pretty marvelous about it, other than how stupid the Mary Sue is, of course. That's pretty marvelous as well. A couple of other quick things about this that we're going to talk about is one, Captain Marvel, I guess, did a promotional thing with the WNBA.
We all have something to fight for. Something that calls us to lead. The question is, how will you get it done?
Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I didn't even know the WNBA still existed. Jesus Christ, I can't even name one WNBA team, but I guess they want to capitalize on that, you know, that core market of whoever the hell watches the WNBA, which I'm assuming are women, feminists, and soy boys. Hey, third wave feminists, in your fight for female supremacy, you guys should push for the WNBA to compete against the NBA. Get the best team in the WNBA to play against the worst team in the NBA and see what happens. Time to show the boys how you do it, right? Higher, further, faster, baby. And the last thing we're gonna go over is something that happened a week ago, but I didn't cover yet. But I saw a couple of people still bring it up recently, so I was like, I'll chime in. Brie Larson can push a car, but of course men have a problem with it. Oh, god damn it. Brie Larson literally pushed a car in her Captain Marvel training and men have problems with it. Yes, you read that right. Larson did in fact push a car all on her lonesome and it was awesome. Not just a little electric car either. Brie got behind a 5,000-pound Jeep with a full tank of gas and a person in the car and pushed it with a smile on her face. So let's take a look at this impressive feat.
Go, 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 dig, 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 dig. We got 20 seconds left. You can do it, you can do it. 1 foot just like that. Come on, come on, come on. Woo! 10 seconds. 5, 4, come on.
That's pretty epic, right? Nothing but respect for my Carol Danvers, but you know, not everyone was so impressed with Larson's ability to push over roughly 5,000 pounds easily. Dumbass, it's not difficult to push a goddamn car. I mean, why is this so impressive? Was the handbrake on? Was it in park? No, it wasn't. It was probably in neutral, just like any other car that's ever been pushed. For you, Rachel Leischman, to be this impressed by this makes me assume that you've never done any kind of physical activity in your life, or have been so privileged that you've never had to actually push a goddamn car. But it doesn't matter if there's a person in it, if it has a full empty tank of gas, it does not goddamn matter. I've pushed many a car in my life. The earliest one I can remember was when I was 12 years old. Because in the Philippines, with the excessive amount of heat and humidity at the same time all year round, overheating is a very common thing. Cars just die in the middle of the road, and when I was 12 years old, our red Mitsubishi L300 died in the middle of the road. It was raining, and guess what? I'm not gonna be the one who steers that goddamn thing. My mom was. So guess who pushes the goddamn thing? I do. It's not that difficult. To prove my point, have you seen the Guinness Book of World Records person that pulled a car with his eye sockets? I'm gonna give you fair warning here and where to skip to if you don't want to see it. It's pretty interesting though. I warned you, here it is. Now that's impressive. Or what about the dude that pulled that row of cars with his genitals? Again, I'm giving you fair warning to skip ahead, but in case you want to see it, here it is. Which illustrates the point of what the hell was so impressive with her pushing a Jeep slowly. She, probably just like you, Rachel, has never been in a situation where they had to push a car. But third world mofos like me, you bet your goddamn ass we've pushed cars. And it ain't that big of a deal. There is value in being a superhero. You're a role model for the younger generation. And watching as Brie Larson takes a stand against the men complaining about her is honestly incredible to see. She's someone we can all look up to and learn from. Maybe don't try pushing a car right out of the gate, but at least recognize that that is an incredibly impressive move. Except it's not. I can't wait to go out and see Captain Marvel this March 8th and anger the men who seemingly hate Larson for existing in 2019. Maybe you shouldn't wait to get some physical activity in because you sound like you've never lifted a goddamn thing in your life. And honestly, you're going to watch that movie is not going to anger me. I don't give a shit what you do. The assumption that it would comes from that same first world privilege you have that was never put in a situation where you actually needed to push a car. Thus have your mind completely blown by the incredibly easy feat. I'm sorry, but being that impressed by that is just pathetic. That's all there is to it. And the reason why people hate Brie Larson in 2019 is not just for existing, but because she's a racist, sexist bitch. I've said it before and I'll say it again. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends and family, whoever you think would be interested in garbage like this. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you can be notified every time I make another one of these pieces of fried chicken. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.
We'll be right back.